T-Dog, J-Boy, and me, I'm Lugs. Our pride and joy is pumping our mugs. Be careful, kids, it could get rough. We're flipping our lids on sports and other stuff. Welcome to Sport Weasel Central, coming to you from Knott's Berry Farm. I'm Lugs.
I'm J-Boy.
And I'm T-Dog.
Knott's Berry Farm. Yes, sports and other stuff is recorded all over the place, but most especially before a live studio audience. Headlines today: Milwaukee Bucks boycott a playoff game. Thom Brennaman, so long. The Ravens say goodbye to Earl Thomas, and we break down the AFC East. So up first, the Milwaukee Bucks basketball team decided to boycott its Wednesday NBA playoff game with the Orlando Magic over the police shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin. The Bucks lead the best-of-7 series 3-1. But, gentlemen, yet another case where sports and life come together.
It's a first that I know of, I think. Obviously, what happened in Kenosha shouldn't have happened, especially in this particular climate. But how far do we go with the entanglement of sports and politics is what I wonder about sometimes. You know, at a certain point, I think of it as sports as entertainment. It's supposed to be the escape, and it's not the escape anymore because it's, especially with all that's going on, it's gotten political, and maybe it had to.
I understand what Lugs is talking about to some point, but also I think it is a situation where people feel powerless on some level, and obviously the NBA team has power. So on some level, they're actually using the power to speak for the powerless. So I think that's what they're doing. And I think that's why they are maybe boycotting, is they don't want to take away from. They don't want people to escape from the situation. So that's why I think they're deciding to boycott the game.
But unprecedented, the Bucks, the 1 seed, just saying we're not going to play this afternoon. I don't think that's ever happened.
It definitely feels like, but it's just, obviously we live in the Louisville area with how long they've gone on. And, just last night you have Cameron bringing up Brown Taylor's name. Meanwhile, he's had for months to come to a decision, and he's at the RNC. So it's I understand why there's a feeling of just tiredness, anger, and you keep having situations happen, and this is their way of protesting.
Well, I mean, like everyone in America, that you have the right to protest. It's interesting that they chose to do it that way, but it shows that the players have strength. They have a more control in the NBA than, say, probably the NFL players would have.
I mean, I don't know if you want to kind of categorize the top four. I'd say NBA has the most
clout, pull.
Yeah, clout.
Mm-hmm.
The players do.
I agree.
Probably followed by actually MLB, just because they're guaranteed contracts. Those are the two sports guaranteed contracts. Then after that, I don't know. I don't know enough about the NHL, but NFL does feel like it'd probably be fourth. So
there's so many more people to mobilize in the NFL with such larger rosters and whatnot.
Well, that's the thing, is you can divide a team where you can put other players who are quote unquote backups and be like, hey, if this guy's out, you're going to get to play. And then obviously if you play well, you can get paid this much. You can put people against each other more so than the NBA.
But clearly politics and sports are here to stay. That leads us to our second topic. Here's a quote: "I cannot erase what I've done. The only thing I can do is humbly apologize, accept the consequences of my actions, and resolve to be better and behave differently from now on." The words of broadcaster Thom Brennaman after the slur he uttered during a Cincinnati Reds game this week. Your thoughts?
Well, first of all, Tom has been in the broadcasting business for a long time. He should realize that basically all mics are hot all the time. Whatever his intent, whatever, you cannot say what he said. You just can't anymore. The consequences are swift, and they probably are permanent. I mean, you've had people disappear even in the old days. Jimmy the Greek made a statement.
Yep.
He was gone.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tom Brookshire uttered something that he shouldn't have. He was gone. So it's not an unusual thing. It's become far more part of the politic of this era as well for these things to happen. But I wish Brennaman the best. I got to be honest, I never was that impressed with him on the air. But so I have no axe to grind with him. He should just genuinely. His apology was a problem for me. In the middle of his apology, he calls a home run. It's like, I don't know, dude. Just apologize. Let the game go.
That was strange. That was strange.
That was a strange moment for me. It shows you how swiftly it can come down on you, and I don't think he's coming back ever. I really don't.
I just want to say I'm glad it wasn't Kevin Harlan. I would have been devastated if it was Kevin Harlan.
Hey, Kevin Harlan coming to you for Fox.
Yeah. There's a cat on the field. There's a cat on the field. There's a cat.
That guy is drunk.
He's drunk. He's drunk, that guy. Kevin Kugler, speaking of Kevins, will replace Brennaman on Fox NFL, so that Kevin becomes the 3 team after our boy Joe Buck and the other guy.
Our panel is attempting to come up with the name Kevin Burkhardt, but fails.
I know he's your nemesis. It's he's usually with Davis.
Yeah, Charles Davis, and
he's always with Charles Davis.
He does baseball. He sits in the studio with the big hurt. You know what I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about.
Come on now, we can't remember.
My favorite. I'm blanking on his. My favorite thing about him was he did a London game a few years ago where you could clearly tell he was mad. He had tee times, and the refs were calling so many penalties, and I think the game was threatened to go into overtime. And I have never heard an announcer actually be pissed at like a game going along in my life. He either had like a plane that was out that he was going to miss, or he was missing a tee time. So.
Okay, we will get on to what Luggs wants to talk about. First of all, the Ravens washed their hands of Earl Thomas, releasing the 7-time Pro Bowl safety after a recent training camp fight, capped a year of on and off the field misconduct from the team, with the team. So here we go. You got to play by the rules, it sounds like, in the Baltimore Ravens camp.
Well, plus, I mean, Earl ain't what he once was, but apparently he was just a mess in the locker room. But I think the hoodie will take a shot. The hoodie will dance with the devil.
Now, wait a minute. That's your answer for everything. You say everybody that's cast on the pile, man, that's thrown on the bonfire, you say, the hoodie's going to take the dude. Come on.
He will, because Patrick Chung opted out because of COVID, right? So they need a safety.
Well, they've drafted safeties the last 2 years, so they've been kind of positioning to move on from Chung anyway. Or not, it wasn't Chung. They've been positioning. They got Duggar this year. I don't think they'll take him on just because Earl Thomas isn't as bad as I think Luggs says. He was still a fairly good player. He played in a simpler system with Seahawks under Wink Martindale. The defense of Ravens is harder, so I think he took some time learning the system, but he's a smart guy. He finally started coming around on it. The problems was it sounded like he blew off walkthroughs, didn't listen to coaches, got in fights with teammates, and was late to meetings. And the final straw was he punched Chuck Clark in the face after Chuck Clark got on him for missing an assignment in practice, and a bunch of veteran players came to coaches and told them they needed to release him. Now, the fascinating part of this story to me, though, is they've specifically worded, and I think a tweet, that they terminated him. So, because they currently could be on the next 2 years, they could be on the hook for $25 million dead cap. I think there was a caveat in his contract.
Sure.
If they could show that they terminated him rightfully because he was too much of a distraction nuisance, they don't have to pay any of that money.
Some kind of morals clause, maybe.
Yeah. So that is the part that's fascinating. And Jeff Zerbiak for the Athletic, he did a good job of writing about it. And he did talk to someone, even though I'm not saying it does clearly sound like Earl Thomas was in the wrong, because there was obviously some problems with Seattle that he had with them as well. But I think it was mutual feeling on both sides that they wanted to part ways. And just very quickly with the Ravens, who are a very well-run organization, they wiped their hands of him within a year. And also have the potential, if they don't get this, they're willing to eat $25 million just to get rid of a guy who is playing fairly well.
Yeah.
That's a big warning sign for whoever wants to take him on. That's all I'll say.
Okay, let's go. The NFL today. So, the Patriots, Bills, Jets, Dolphins. That's how they finished first to worst last year. What happens this year in the season of COVID? We'll break it down for you now without Jimmy the Greek, who got let go a while ago. So take it away, T-Dog, the AFC East. Your thoughts. Get it going.
All right. We usually hit these things with 4 prongs. So, first one, best coach in the AFC East. That's
Belichick. I mean, come on.
Wait a minute. Why didn't Adam Gase come to the top of that coffee cup? Come on now.
Second best coach. Next.
Second, no, it's Belichick. I don't know, Florio. I mean, it's first or last year they played well, the Dolphins.
I'd have to go with Sean McDermott.
Sean McDermott, you could make it probably a better case for. Yeah, he's second. I think Florio showed a lot of promise, so he should be. Or Flores, my bad. I'm saying Florio. Flores.
Yeah.
He showed a lot of promise, so you can make a case. Gase is the bottom of the barrel. Belichick, yeah, he's won 6 titles as a head coach. His winning percentage, this is the craziest thing. You take in regular season, postseason, he's almost at 70% winning percentage.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, 68%. So
greatest of all time, no question.
Yeah,
and some of those teams, especially the defenses, were sort of ragtag that he would put together with players that were cast-offs or had problems elsewhere. I'm impressed. I socially, I'd probably slap the guy, but
you'd have a steak with him, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you'd have to have a beer with Belichick.
I actually think he'd be. I mean, if you had, we won't digress too much. I just want to say this real quickly. If you really know lacrosse, I think that's your end with him. Dude loves lacrosse. Or Roger Staubach. He supposedly really loves Roger Staubach. That was his dude when his dad was a scout for Navy. Anyway.
Best offense? Yeah. Oh, man. I'd have to, I'd say the Bills. I'd have to say the Bills have some talent offensively. Cam Newton gives them an edge at New England, but you're not sure exactly how he's going to fit into that system and how they'll have to massage it for him.
Yeah.
I think they have potential. They've gotten, some folks.
I'm so
all right.
So J-Boy, of the Bills, the Dolphins, the Patriots.
Oh, that'd be the Bills.
Okay. Guess what? Across the board, we all agree the Bills. Josh Allen, as flawed as he is, either with his legs or his strong arm, he's a playmaker. It's not always going to be beautiful. Sometimes it's going to be a train wreck. Sometimes it's going to be glorious. Then you have Stephon Diggs, John